You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I am Anil Thomas. Coming up in the next hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds bilateral talks with UAE President on day one of his visit. The two leaders introduce UPI RuPay card service in Abu Dhabi. MOUs signed. Abu Dhabi Stadium gears up to welcome Prime Minister Modi at Ahlan Modi event. Over 2,500 people will attend despite inclement weather. EU lawmakers ratify political deal on artificial intelligence rules. EU countries look for better protection of business interests as the bill comes for a vote in April. World Radio Day stands as a tribute to the enduring power of sound, continues to hold sway in this age of social media. Well, let's begin with updates from Prime Minister Modi's visit to United Arab Emirates. Well, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi reached Abu Dhabi today. UAE's President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan warmly received the Prime Minister with a hug. Prime Minister was also accorded the Guard of Honor upon his arrival in Abu Dhabi. The two leaders held one-on-one and delegation-level talks. They reviewed the bilateral partnership and discussed new areas of cooperation. Discussion also covered regional as well as global issues. The leaders discussed the strengthening of energy partnership. They appreciated that India is now entering into long-term contracts for LNG. After the Indian Prime Minister's arrival, a bilateral meeting was held between the UAE President and India's Prime Minister. Several MOUs were exchanged after the meet. Indian Prime Minister expressed joy over the relations between the two nations and highlighted how UPI is playing a huge role in the fintech between the two countries.
ये हमेशा लगा है कि जब मैं आपके पास आया हूं, आप लोगों के बीच आया हूं, तब हमेशा लगा है कि जैसे मैं अपने ही घर में आया हूं, अपने ही परिवार के ही सदस्यों के साथ मैं मिलने आया हूं, ऐसा मैं हमेशा अनुभव कर रहा हूं। और हमारे संबंधों की गहनता ऐसी है, पिछले 7 महीने में हम 5 बार मिले हैं। ये शायद बहुत रेयर होता है। मुझे भी यहाँ 7 बार आने का अवसर मिला है। यानी ये हमारी निकटता है और हर क्षेत्र में हम लोग जिस प्रकार से आगे बढ़े हैं, और आज भारत और यूएई के बीच में हर क्षेत्र में एक सांझी भागीदारी हो रही है। आज भी हम कई महत्वपूर्ण फैसले करने जा रहे हैं। हम यूपीआई मेरा और हमारा जीवन कार्ड, इन दोनों का एक प्रकार से एक नया युग शुरू हो रहा है फिनटेक का, और ये भी अपने आप में बहुत बड़ा है।
The two leaders witnessed the exchange of several agreements. India and UAE signed bilateral investment treaty. This treaty will be a key enabler for further promoting investments in both countries. India has signed both a bilateral investment treaty and her comprehensive economic partnership agreement with UAE. Both sides signed MOUs on cooperation in the field of electrical interconnection and trade. New areas of collaboration include energy security along with trade. India and UAE inked intergovernmental framework agreement. The agreement to boost India-Middle East economic corridor, foster India-UAE cooperation in strengthening regional connectivity, MOU especially on cooperation in digital infrastructure projects, cooperation protocol between National Archives, protocol to shape extensive bilateral cooperation in restoring archival material, MOU in the field of heritage and museums to support maritime heritage complex at Lothal, agreement on interlinking of instant payment platforms, that's UPI and AANI, facilitate seamless cross-border transactions, agreement on interlinking domestic debit credit cards, that's RuPay and J1. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan also introduced the UPI RuPay credit card service in Abu Dhabi. The launch of UAE's domestic card J1 is based on the digital RuPay credit and debit card stack. The leaders witnessed a transaction made using the J1 card. Prime Minister thanked UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan for his personal support and for his graciousness in granting the land for the construction of the BAPS temple in Abu Dhabi.
आपकी भारत के प्रति जो लगाव है और आपकी यूएई के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए जो विजन है, उसका एक उदाहरण मैं देख रहा हूं यहाँ BAPS का मंदिर बनना। आपके सहयोग के बिना ये संभव ही नहीं था और मेरी पहली मुलाकात थी। मैंने सिंपली आपको रिक्वेस्ट की कि जरा आप देख लीजिए और पलक झपकते ही आपने उसका निर्णय करके मुझे बता दिया कि आप बस जगह पर ऐसे उंगली रख दीजिए, आपको जगह मिल जाएगी। शायद इतना विश्वास, इतना प्यार अपने आप में एक बहुत ही अनोखे संबंधों की ये शक्ति को दर्शाता है।
Bharat Mata Ki Jai, Ahlan Modi slogans reverberated as the members of the Indian diaspora welcomed India's Prime Minister Modi at the hotel where the Prime Minister will stay during his visit. While the Indian community gathered to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Abu Dhabi, shared their excitement and joy with chants of Modi and songs for welcoming the Prime Minister of India. Here's a report by DD India's correspondent Dibendu Mondal from Abu Dhabi.
As Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to address the Ahlan Modi event in Abu Dhabi, I'm joined by this excited Indian community here in Abu Dhabi. How excited are you guys? As you can see, the excitement in the air is palpable. Let me go and find out what preparations do they have to welcome the Prime Minister here in Abu Dhabi. What are the preparations that you have to welcome the Prime Minister?
As you know, we are gathered here for welcoming of our Prime Minister. आप हमारे चेहरों से, आप हमारी खुशियों से देख सकते हैं, आज हर दिलों में, हर किसी की ज़बान पे है ऐलान मोदी.
I'm sure people are wanting to sing. These ladies have prepared some songs for Prime Minister. What is it?
डाल पर सोने की चिड़िया करती है बसेरा, वो भारत देश है मेरा, वो भारत देश है मेरा.
We are, as you can see, we have gathered here in a big number, and Mr. Modi, you are in our hearts, right? You are in every drop of our blood, and we are here 100% ready to welcome you, see you in person. You are having a magnanimous personality. We are so impressed. Our next generation is so impressed with you. And definitely you make UAE a second home for all of us Indians. We are so proud of you.
Preparations on for welcoming Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the UAE. Of course, the main event is at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium, where he will be addressing a large gathering. Of course, over 65,000 people await to hear Narendra Modi at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium in Abu Dhabi.
Well, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to address the Indian diaspora there at the Zayed Sports City in Abu Dhabi at the Ahlan Modi event later today. The event is part of his two-day visit to the country.
So the Zayed Sports City Stadium in Abu Dhabi, which will be hosting Ahlan Modi, will be witnessing mesmerizing cultural performances from a number of people from the diaspora who will bring the fervor, the tradition, the art and culture from their states. So I'll speak to a few of them to understand how the preparations are going on and what's the festivity like. So can you please tell us what are you performing, what are the preparations, and obviously the excitement that's very, very palpable here.
Excitement too high till sky. I am from Rajasthan team. I am leading Rajasthan team, and we are performing in procession. And our Rajasthani culture, Ghumar, we are showcasing here to world. And this is our small thank you to Modi ji and to India.
We are actually about 360 performers. We are from Dubai, different walks of life, and we are so thankful to the Consul General and to the entire team who has organized this.
We are a group of 32 dancers who are going to perform a semi-classical item. Our focus is going to be on non-stop India, the industrial growth in India. So really looking forward to the performance.
We are doing a Jugalbandi, the Indian classical form of South Indian dance, the Bharatanatyam and Kuchipudi and Mohiniyattam. So more than 42 people are presenting this to bring our Indian culture.
We are a team of 30 people, and showcasing the whole West Bengal, Calcutta is like it was a huge honor for us. So you can see all my participants, they are so excited.
With my colleague Ashwini Mishra and camera person Pramod Negi, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Abu Dhabi.
Well, still to come on DD India News Hour. India secured the prestigious 9th GovTech Prize for its pioneering endeavors in AI-powered government services at the World Government Summit 2024. The world's biggest single-day poll is set to unfold in Indonesia on Wednesday.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic information.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Anil Thomas. A key highlight of the Prime Minister's visit to the UAE would be the inauguration of the BAPS Hindu Mandir in Abu Dhabi on the 14th of Feb. DD India correspondent Meghna Dev brings you more from the temple.
In the beautiful desert expanse of Abu Dhabi's Abu Mureka district is this structure emerging from the sands. This structure is also now being known as the lotus in the desert because it's carved out of pink sandstone. Italian marbles and much more has been carved so that it gets this beautiful shape, and it's a testimony, it's a testament to timeless craftsmanship and obviously the Indian intricacy in terms of art, culture, tradition is all depicted on the walls of this beautiful BAPS Hindu temple. I will also take you inside to show you the intricacy of the art that's depicted inside the temples under the 7 spires that make this temple as beautiful as it meets the eye. We are inside the BAPS Hindu temple, the highly anticipated temple where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be coming, and we'll be inaugurating it on 14th of February on his visit to UAE. To show you around, my camera person will pan for you and show you the beautiful visuals of this temple, the height, the depth and the intricacy of the art, craftsmanship, which is a testament to what India has to offer in terms of its crafts, timeless crafts that has been depicted here. We obviously see this beautiful structure. When generally people visit Abu Dhabi, this structure transcends them from the general Abu Dhabi in terms of luxury hotels, racing car arenas and much more, to beautiful spiritual place and everything that depicts Indian craftsmanship, Indian culture, Indian tradition and more. With my colleague Ashwini Mishra and camera person Pramod Negi, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Abu Dhabi.
Well, the magnificent BAPS temple, largest in Western Asia, is all ready. Built with key elements from India, the temple, which sits like a lotus amidst the sand dunes in the UAE, will soon be inaugurated by India's Prime Minister. DD India's Meghna Dev speaks to Vishal Patel, volunteer at the Hindu temple, on the preparations.
We are inside the BAPS Hindu temple, the highly anticipated temple where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be coming, and we'll be inaugurating it on 14th of February on his visit to UAE. Vishal, can you talk to us and tell us more on what are the preparations going around, and what we see is such a majestic view of this temple?
The culmination of what we've seen, the support that we've been given for this temple to be constructed has been phenomenal. And now we've seen everyone really working hard to see the culmination where our Guru Mahant Sai Maharaj is going to be here, and we're going to be joined by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And you can see there's a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement, and we're really proud to showcase the unity between the UAE and India. This is the first stone temple in the whole of the Middle East, and it's the largest temple in Western Asia. So to see such a magnificent temple, when you're really up close, it almost feels like you're actually in India. It's only when you go outside and you see the wider perimeter of the sand dunes and the palm trees, really hits home that you're actually in the middle of the UAE.
Many people have been telling us that the 7 spires are actually one of the special attractions, we can say, or one of the specialities of this temple. What do you have to say? Because we have been seeing that gods from different parts of India, their idols have been brought in here.
What makes it very unique is the way that it's been constructed. If you look at the 7 shikhars that you have here, the 7 spires, they actually pay homage to the UAE. They represent each of the 7 emirates. And that's for us to say thank you to the UAE, which is our home for many, many years, for giving this land. Now, within this temple, what differentiates it from many other temples that you find around the world is the unity and the harmony that you will see. We've got murtis coming from the north, south, east and west. We have murtis coming from Tirupati. So Tirupati Balaji's murti is as authentic because it's been provided by the Tirupati Trust. Similarly, when you go to Puri, the Jagannath Ji murti is coming from Puri itself. So it's as authentic as you would find. So every Indian, every Hindu, and even, well-wishers who want to visit will have a taste of India when they come to this mandir.
Absolutely. So when we call it a spiritual sanctuary, it definitely stands ground on what it is being called. We obviously see this beautiful structure. When generally people visit Abu Dhabi, this structure transcends them from the general Abu Dhabi in terms of luxury hotels, racing car arenas and much more, to beautiful spiritual place and everything that depicts Indian craftsmanship, Indian culture, Indian tradition and more. With my colleague Ashwini Mishra and camera person Pramod Negi, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Abu Dhabi.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, on embarking to Abu Dhabi, met with school students from the Abu Dhabi Indian School and interacted with them. He also signed a portrait which was made by a student. DD India's Divendu Mondal caught up with the students whom Prime Minister Modi went. Let's listen in.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi just interacted with these school students from Abu Dhabi Indian School here in Abu Dhabi, and I'm joined by Shaurya, with whom Prime Minister interacted, and I see the Prime Minister also put his autograph and signature with this portrait here. Shaurya, how do you feel with your interaction? What did the Prime Minister tell you?
I feel very good, and the Prime Minister told me did you make this? And then he asked which school were you from? And then like he said like, do you want the autograph? Then I said yes, and then he signed it.
That's wonderful. You know, explain us what this picture is about and how did you make it? How long did it take for you to make it?
Yeah, my father helped me with this. This is from his childhood till now with the world leaders, and this is all his schemes that he has created. And these are some slogans of him. Then these are pictures of him with our His Highness Sheikh Mohammed. And then this is our photo of him.
Could come forward. You know, it was, I saw the Prime Minister interacting with a couple of the students. The Prime Minister came and took a photograph as well. How did you feel? What was the excitement level then?
I was feeling really prestige that the Honorable Prime Minister came to us and he motivated us so that we do hard work in our life.
It was very high, and I'm very proud to have met the Prime Minister of my own country.
Well, you know, you can see how the students are excited to have met the Prime Minister, who interacted with them. Not just interacted, you know, the Prime Minister also was speaking to some of these students and in fact gave a piece of advice to these students here. You know, in UAE, these are all Indian origin students who study at the Abu Dhabi Indian School here in Abu Dhabi. And of course, their interaction with the Prime Minister will be a memorable one and a one that they will cherish for the rest of their lives. With camera person Ravinder from Abu Dhabi, this is Dibyendu Mondal for DD India.
Well, India has secured the prestigious 9th GovTech Prize for its pioneering endeavors in AI-powered government services at the World Government Summit 2024. The annual award is instituted by the Government of UAE and is presented to government entities, central or local, worldwide, to recognize creative and innovative solutions. India won under the category of AI-powered government services. The accolade recognizes the remarkable efforts of the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Government of India, for its transformative project known as IRASTE, which is a collaborative initiative involving the government, industry and academia in revolutionizing road safety through the integration of AI technology. The award was distributed by Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed Al Maktoum, Crown Prince of Dubai, and received by Tadu Mamu, Counsel at the Consulate General of India on India's behalf. Turkey President Tayyip Erdogan met UAE's President Sheikh Mohammed on the sidelines of the World Government Summit in Dubai. Both the leaders discussed bilateral, political and economic relations along with global issues. Furthermore, the Israel-Gaza conflict was also one of the items on the agenda for discussion. Erdogan is set to later address a summit as a keynote speaker, which is taking place with the theme of shaping governments of the future. Russia, meanwhile, hit Kyiv last week with the hypersonic Zircon missile, according to preliminary analysis. Its first use in the nearly two-year-old war presents a new challenge to Ukraine's air defenses, the head of a Kyiv research institute has said. The Russian Defense Ministry has not immediately replied to a request for a comment on the use of that particular hypersonic missile. Elections 2024, and Indonesia goes to the poll and is scheduled to go under polls on Wednesday, where final preparations are underway ahead of that presidential elections on Wednesday. Let's take a look at this report.
205 million registered voters in the world's third largest democracy, Indonesia, will elect the successor to President Joko Widodo on Wednesday, who is finishing the second of the maximum 2 terms allowed. One of the 3 candidates vying to succeed incumbent President Widodo is Defense Minister Prabowo Subianto, who appears to be the frontrunner in the polls. He is believed to have support of the incumbent President Widodo, though Widodo has not explicitly endorsed any of the 3 candidates, but was seen with Subianto during rallies, as Widodo's son is running for the post of Vice President on the same ticket. Another candidate in the fray is former Jakarta Governor Anais Baswedan, who is political analyst and a PhD scholar. His campaign pledges to address what he calls an erosion of democratic values that has helped the former governor to stand at second place, according to some opinion surveys. Ganjer Pranovo, another presidential candidate, has spent 20 years in public service as a member of the country's largest political party. Pranovo's manifesto pledges to create 17 million new jobs, expand social welfare, strengthen anti-corruption efforts. The opinion surveys have projected Prabowo win with a majority of 51.8% votes. Though Ganjer and Anais have been neck and neck mostly, but the recent survey shows Anais pulling away slightly, though still far adrift of Prabowo.
Well, still to come on DD India News Hour. Well, the top leaders of Pakistan Muslim League, Nawaz, and the Pakistan's People Party discuss a new power-sharing formula. Russia declares Estonian Prime Minister Kaja Kallas as wanted without disclosing criminal charges.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights and authentic.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Anil Thomas. A quick recap of the headlines. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds bilateral talks with UAE President on day one of his visit. The two leaders introduced UPI RuPay card service in Abu Dhabi. Multiple MOUs signed. Abu Dhabi Stadium gears up to welcome Prime Minister Modi at Ahlan Modi event. Over 2,500 people to attend despite inclement weather. Well, days after Pakistan went to polls, a political crisis grips the country amid allegations of rigging and election interference by the army. Let's take a look at the detailed report.
Uncertainty looms over government formation in Pakistan as the country's two largest parties, PPP and the PMLN, scrambled to form a coalition in a parliament dominated by independents backed by former Prime Minister Imran Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party. Khan, who is currently in jail due to a number of cases, had ruled out joining hands with both the PPP and the PMLN.
Given the accusations that have been made regarding the election, the integrity of the elections, I don't think any government which comes will be able to withstand the demand for other elections, better managed elections, more honest elections in the near future. So I don't think more than 6 to 9 months, and they'll have to go in for new elections.
The country's powerful military has been accused of poll interference, and the government's rejection of rigging allegations has done little to assuage public anger.
Framed their initial assessment on the social media and digital space, fractured information, fabricated information, and responsible government should wait and filter, take their time, and then have a position that would have been better.
Shops and public transport services in Pakistan's Quetta city remained shut as local political parties called for a shutdown and protest against the inconclusive polls. Whoever comes to power in Pakistan will inherit a series of problems, including an ailing economy. But for the time being, the polls have emerged as a major issue, raising fears of further political instability in the nation. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, Estonian Prime Minister Kaja Kallas, along with the State Secretary and Lithuania's Cultural Minister, have been put on the wanted list by the Russian police. This is according to the Russian Interior Ministry database. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov has said that Kallas is wanted for desecration of historical memory. Estonia as well as Lithuanian countries have not commented on the latest development that's taken place. US President Joe Biden and Jordan's King Abdullah II held talks on how to end the month-long Israel-Hamas armed conflict, the hostage deal, and the plan for what comes afterwards. Biden's meeting at the White House on Monday with Abdullah comes as the United States is working to broker another pause in Israel's conflict with Hamas in order to send humanitarian aid and supplies into the region and get hostages out. Jordan King Abdullah II appealed for a full ceasefire to end the conflict after talks with American President Joe Biden.
As the King and I discussed today, the United States is working on a hostage deal between Israel and Hamas, which would bring an immediate and sustained period of calm to Gaza for at least 6 weeks, which we could then take the time to build something more enduring. U.S. military forces have struck targets in Iraq and Syria, and our response will continue. We're grateful to our partners and allies like the King, who work with us every single day to advance security and stability across the region and beyond.
Former US President Donald Trump, who is seeking to regain presidency in this year's November elections, has requested the US Supreme Court to temporarily shelve a judicial order that refutes his claim of immunity from prosecution. Trump's lawyers, in a brief, stated that the criminal trial will affect his bid to participate in the presidential race. Trump was charged for conspiring to defraud the United States and also for conspiring to obstruct the certification of the 2021 election results. He was also prosecuted for conspiring against the right of Americans to vote.
If I don't get immunity, then crooked Joe Biden doesn't get immunity, and all of the things he's done to allow the border invasion, millions and millions of people coming into our country, many from prisons, jails, mental institutions, insane asylums, many terrorists coming into our country. That's really allowing insurrection.
Well, on Tuesday, Sri Lanka's presidential office announced that the country's general elections have been rescheduled and will now be held in 2025. The statement also said that the financial provisions for the polls will be provided in next year's budget. The statement further added that the presidential elections will be held within the mandated period and according to the current timeline. The Election Commission of Sri Lanka is responsible for conducting the elections. However, as per the country's constitution, the presidential election should be held before October 2024. On the occasion of World Radio Day today, India's President Draupadi Murmu shared her journey from Rairangpur, the birthplace in Odisha, to Rashtrapati Bhavan in an interaction with India's Union Minister of Women and Child Development, Smriti Irani. The special episode was recorded at Rashtrapati Bhavan and broadcast on the occasion of World Radio Day today. India's Ministry of Information and Broadcasting is organizing a two-day regional community radio conference in Chennai, celebrating 20 years of community radio in India. During his keynote address, India's Information and Broadcasting Minister, Anurag Singh Thakur, highlighted the role of community radio stations in information and content being passed on in regional languages.
Community radio stations offer a platform where content is disseminated in localized dialects and regional languages. And I personally feel, and our government feel, that the vernacular language, local language is very important. That is why the new education policy has also been provided in the local languages. So the local context specific issues are raised and discussed in these stations, in local idioms. The government is committed to its mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Prayas. It is important to realize the importance of community radio in this direction.
Well, speaking on the occasion, Minister emphasized on the special focus that Prime Minister Modi's government is placing on community radio stations.
Till the year 2014, after completion of a decade, a total of 140 stations only were working. But when Prime Minister Modi took up and he assumed the office in 2014, the government introduced a central sector scheme for grant of support to the sector. Provisions for financial assistance were made towards setting up of infrastructure for community radio stations. An amount of 7.5 lakh was provided to the organizations once they set up the community radio station.
Well, the Chief Executive Officer of Prasar Bharati, the public broadcaster of India, has conveyed his greetings to the global listeners on the World Radio Day. India's public radio broadcast service is also known as Akashvani and is one of the largest public service radio broadcasters in the world. With more than 250 stations, AIR is broadcasting in 23 Indian and 11 foreign languages.
Namaskar. Greetings from India to all members of AAPIDA. The observance of February 13th as the World Radio Day by UNESCO every year reassures the recognition around the world that radio still remains one of the most popular, trusted and accessible media. I congratulate AAPIDA for introducing the upcoming project, Radio, a Century Informing, Entertaining and Educating, aiming to highlight the impact of radio by commemorating its legacy, analyzing its present relevance and envisioning a promising future through its role of educating, informing and entertaining. Akashvani is among the largest public service radio broadcasters in the world, broadcasting in over 23 Indian, 11 foreign and over 181 dialects to millions of listeners through more than 250 radio stations on the FM and AM frequencies and on digital platforms such as DRM and over DTH. Akashvani programs are currently accessible on various social media platforms, YouTube and the news on AIR, Android and iOS apps as well. Akashvani has planned a number of programs to observe the World Radio Day on February 13th, 2024. I extend warm wishes to all AAPIDA members, media professionals and radio enthusiasts across Asia and the world for a purposeful World Radio Day and a fantastic year ahead. Happy listening.
Well, Feb 13 marks World Radio Day, a celebration of the powerful medium that has informed, entertained and educated people around the world for over a century. The United Nations General Assembly adopted the resolution of World Radio Day on the 14th of January 2013, recognizing the importance of radio as a source of information, entertainment and education for all. DD India's Tanvi Taneja has the latest on the celebrations.
As the world celebrated World Radio Day on February 13th, the day marked an important milestone in India's radio journey. February 13th, 2024 marked 100 years of radio broadcasting in India and 20 years of licensed community radio in the country. India's incredible journey in sound waves started in June 1923 with a broadcast by the then Radio Club of Bombay. Other radio clubs like the Calcutta Radio Club soon followed. The Indian Broadcasting Company was set up in July 1927. Then came the Indian Broadcasting Service in April 1930. The Indian Broadcasting Service became the All India Radio in 1936, which is now known as Akashvani, India's public service broadcaster. Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi's address to the nation every last Sunday of the month in his Man Ki Baat program through Akashvani is also a testament of the power of radio to connect with audiences far and wide.
सोशल मीडिया और इंटरनेट के इस दौर में भी रेडियो पूरे देश को जोड़ने का एक सशक्त माध्यम है.
Secretary, Information and Broadcasting Ministry, Sanjay Jaju, informed about the important reforms made for the community radio setups in the country recently.
An organization can have now 6 community radio stations, so that would possibly help. Presentations on the initial permissions and the number of years for which such permissions are applicable. I think now that's been increased from 5 years to 10 years. So that's again another reform that possibly you all would be liking. And I think you had some restrictions on the duration of the advertisements that you could do within an hour. Earlier, I think you had restrictions of 7 minutes within an hour, and that has been extended to 12 minutes in an hour.
Not just this, the power and reach of the radio has been utilized over the years to communicate effectively in a conflict or disaster-prone zone. Radios have brought together people in tackling emergencies. On World Radio Day, as we celebrate the diversity of voices and perspectives that enrich airwaves around us, New Delhi's Archana Kapoor organizes the Radio Festival every year to give the spotlight to radio practitioners from the length and breadth of India.
When we started, everybody, was so invested in this idea. We get the best RJs. We've had you with us last year. And we are able to bring in people from AIR. We are able to bring in people from private radios. And of course, community radios are our main audience and our focus, because for them, it's a learning and sharing experience. They never get to meet secretary, because they are broadcasting in the remotest areas of the country.
February 13th marks the day to celebrate the power of radio to promote the diverse culture of India across the length and breadth of the country. And it's also a day to preserve this intangible heritage for another 100 years to come. So let's unmute and keep our radios aloud. With camera person Radhe Krishna, this is Tanvita Neja for DD India, New Delhi.
Well, radio or the power of sound has withstood the pressure of social media. Well, still to come on DD India News Hour. Dattaji Rao Gaikwad, India's oldest test cricketer, passes away.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Anil Thomas. The National Disaster Management Authority, that's NDMA of India, has convened a national workshop on heat waves in New Delhi on Tuesday. India's Minister of Earth Sciences, Kiran Rijiju, inaugurated the workshop, which centered its discussions on managing, intervening and mitigating heat waves in the country. In recent years, India has experienced a high intensity of heat waves. The minister expressed confidence in addressing the situation more effectively in the upcoming months through planned interventions.
The scientific approach in how to manage the weather conditions and long-term climatic management is going to be a key thing for the scientific community. If there is artificial rainfall for the sake of the farmers, it is management of the climate. Now, in the very beginning of the heat wave, sometime in the end of April itself, we will start hearing news from particularly Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, southern part of West Bengal, some part of Tamil Nadu. So these are, things which we foresee. But with the kind of preparations which are already drawn, I am excited and confident that we will handle the situation better.
Well, from waste to green, new technologies are making waves around the globe. Meet Stratum Solutions, engineers who are guiding SMEs, offering solutions and project execution. renowned for robust process plants. They cater to ethanol, bio-CNG, oil and gas, along with industries. DD India's Taposh has the story.
From waste to green energy, this concept is getting popularity in India Energy Week. In fact, most of the companies are going to adopt this kind of technology. And one of the pioneers of this is Dagi Green. And I have with me Mr. Anil Singh, who is the director of that. Sir, you guys are working with PSUs, with other companies to turn their waste into green energy, making India or getting India in line for the 2070 net neutrality. How is that happening? Can you tell us?
We are the pioneer in this industry. We are making waste to energy, just like agricultural waste, MSW, city waste, and we are having a technological tie-up with PSUs in India, like BPCL, IOCL, GAIL India, Indraprastha Limited, and we are providing technological research, our own research developed by us, and we are providing technology to our partners here in India.
This is the plug flow reactor. This is the demo that you have given, right? Exactly how does it work?
Sir, exactly, it's very efficient. Like its own energy requirement is very less, and the yield of its CBG gas is very high, and it takes only 7 days to digest that digested and feedstock, in comparison to the conventional digester that takes 31 days to 45 days. That's why it's very high in yield.
And also, you guys are working in green hydrogen aspect.
Right. We convert methane into hydrogen, and for that it emits zero emissions, no liquid discharge and no emission in environment. It's good for our humanity and good for our planet.
Most of the companies, PSU companies, or for that matter any other companies who have who provide any sort of waste material, it can be toxic waste material, it can be any kind of waste material. What these companies do is turn that into a green energy and making India self-sustaining, making sure that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of India becoming net neutral by 2070 is fulfilled in that timeline. With camera person Ajit, this is Taposh Bhattacharya for DD India from Goa.
Well, Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority held a press conference on Tuesday reflecting on the progress and development of AAPIDA on its 38th Foundation Day. DD India's Deepika had an exclusive interaction with the chairman, Abhishek Dev, who talked about the journey, promotion of Sri Anna or millets in India and abroad. Let's take a listen.
Right now we have with us the chairman of AAPIDA, and today AAPIDA has completed its 38 years. First of all, many congratulations to you, sir, for the 38th Foundation Day of AAPIDA. The journey has been really far, long and tough also when we talk about, but so far, as we saw in the presentation also, it has been progressive, right from women's involvement to startup and IT sector that you've tapped upon. How difficult was the journey for you so far?
We started off very modestly from around 0.6 billion of exports in the year 87-88, and now last year we had an export of around 26 billion plus. So it has been a long and eventful journey, and we had healthy export growths throughout the years. And even though we have challenging global environment as on date, but we are working on different fronts to ensure that the share of India in the global agri-export ecosystem increases in the days to come.
What are the benefits that the farmers are eventually getting from it?
Yes, so we are seeing an increasing number of farmers through the farmer producer organizations or farmer producer companies or cooperatives start exporting. So taking example of AAPIDA itself, we have now around 118 FPOs who were our members who have now started exporting to different areas and locations, and some of them are pretty big, especially the ones into fruits from the state of Maharashtra.
And when we talk about Sri, and you also talked about the promotion of it and the logo also, can you please throw some more light on that?
Yes, so AAPIDA last year spearheaded the International Year of Millets, and the good number of global events were conducted. We actively promoted millets in all our international fairs and also in the domestic fairs. While the International Year of Millets has concluded, but we are now taking it forward, we are coming up with a special brand identity for Shri Anna. We are working with the India Brand Equity Forum, IBEF, to come up with a specialized logo for that, and the approvals are under discussion for that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for talking exclusively.
Thank you.
So there you heard the chairman of AAPIDA, who said that the plan is long and progressive and they are working for the benefit of the farmers also exclusively. With camera person Rakesh, this is Deepika reporting for DD India.
Well, now to some sports stories, starting first up with India's oldest Test cricketer and former captain, Dagi Gad, who passed away due to age-related ailments in the western city of Vadodara in Gujarat state on Tuesday. He was 95. Gaikwad played 11 Tests from 1952 to 1961 and was captain during the tour of England in 1959. A right-handed batter, he scored 350 Test runs in his highest score of 52, which came against the West Indies. In domestic cricket, Gaikwad was a key player for Baroda. He notched up over 3,000 runs, which included 14 centuries in Ranji Trophy. He was the father of former Indian cricketer and coach Anshuman Gaikwad. The 4th edition of the Badminton Asia Team Championship has commenced in Malaysia. Two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu and world number 8 HS Prannoy spearhead a strong Indian squad at the team championship. They will play tomorrow. The Indian side also includes Satvik Sairaj Ranki Reddy, Chirag Shetty, Lakshya Sen. The championship offers qualification for the 2024 Thomas and Uber Cup. The men and women's team championship scheduled to be held in the Chengdu city of China. This year's Badminton Asia Team Championship will conclude on the 19th of Feb. Well, that's all in this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. We're going to be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Anil Thomas from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.